Welcome back to Sumita Roy's English Classroom. I hope all of you have been watching the videos and benefiting from whatever you have learned. Don't forget to practice regularly. Since most of you have expressed your interest mainly in conversation, I thought I would do a series of conversation videos before we go on to grammar and vocabulary. Already, there are 3 beginners level conversation videos. The beginners level conversation video is very basic. It gives you the first few ideas of how to better your conversation right from the beginning. Now, in mid level, we shall have 2 videos on conversation. So I have called this as conversation video 1 mid level. In the advanced level, we shall have just 1 video on conversation because advanced level, more importance will be given to vocabulary and to advanced grammar. Let us see how the conversation models which we have today are different from what we had in the basic level. You have already learned in the basic level how to start your greetings and take a leave of people. Then you have also learned how to describe yourself. Then simple conversations where there are only questions and answers. You learned in the second video 2 types of questions and how to answer them. And then in the third video, you had a simple family and their interactions with each other during a day. Now, we are not going to do any of that here because this is higher. So you will find a difference. One, the conversations are longer. Some of them are formal. The vocabulary which is used is much higher. In case you feel that the words are difficult, you can always check out their meaning and start practicing them. That way, without a video of vocabulary, you're already improving your vocabulary on your own by reading the conversation, by practicing the conversation. It would be wonderful if you have a friend or two with whom you can practice, or you can practice, as I told you, you can practice it on your own. There is no harm in practicing all the dialogues of different people all on your own. You pretend to be 2, 3 people, and you can easily practice the conversation models. But the models are not the end of your conversation practice. Just now, just before starting the video, I got a mail. It said, please give us some conversation pieces. So these are conversation pieces for you to take as model. When you, based on these models, when you look around you, you find that some incidents are taking place, even if they are everyday, regular happenings. Sit down and write a conversation. Imagine that there are 2 or 3 people and write what they would be speaking in that context. I'm just giving you only a very few models because I cannot endlessly make videos on conversation. Somebody had asked me in the earlier conversation video, that they want a PDF. I'm sorry, I'm not able to give you a PDF because I don't have anything. On these slides, I put the conversations just before I start the video. So I don't have a stored file which I can send to you. But I hope the slides are very clear and you're able to write them down if you want. You can also take a picture of them. You can download the video if you want. There are many ways of doing it. Just having a PDF, I'm telling this from my experience. Just having a PDF will be another file in your laptop. Somebody, when I went to their college, told me that, Madam, I have all the notes which you have given in my notebook. but has it come from the notebook to your brain? Are you able to speak? That the student could not tell me. So just having a PDF file is not going to help you. Since I don't have a PDF, I'm not able to give it to you. These are all extempore conversation pieces which I'm just giving you whenever I make a video. So please use the videos, please use the slides which I've put in the videos, because a lot of hard work goes into this and it is all for your benefit. So let us move on to the few pieces of conversation which we have in this video. Now, the first and the second slides are on introduction. In the basic level also, we had one slide on introduction. We had also one in the first video on introducing yourself, which is fairly long. You have to say a few sentences about yourself when you're introducing yourself. But here it is only one or two sentences which we have. The two slides, one of them is an informal context, introducing a friend, and the second one will be a more formal context. Now, what is important for you is that you have to see the difference between these two. Both are introductions, but this is informal and the other is formal. This is similar to what we had in the third video of the beginners, where the family were introducing themselves. That you have to keep in mind, but this is slightly different also because there is something more. As you can see, there are four characters. To make the distinction, I have put them in four colors. There is one D, whose name we will come to know is Devi. Then there is one M, who we know right from the first sentence is Millie. Then there is one S, who's Shweta. And there is one K, who is Kala. So these are the four people who meet and who introduce each other. So you can see that the first person who speaks already knows the second person. So he says, "Hello, Millie, how are you?" Then Millie replies, "I'm fine, Devi." We don't know who's speaking. So she has to say Devi so that we know, okay, the first person who was speaking is Devi. "I'm fine, Devi." We know two people's name. "Meet my friend Shweta." So now you have here the third person who's being introduced. "Meet my friend Shweta." Now, Devi says, "Hello, Shweta, I'm Devi." So now you have two times. Devi's name has come, Millie has come, Shweta has come. "Very nice to meet you, Devi. Do you live in Kanpur?" Now we have a place. So they are talking now in a city called Kanpur. "Yes, Millie, and yes." There's a full stop after that, so we stop. "Yes, Millie and I study in the same college in Kanpur." So Millie and Devi are already friends, so they don't need introduction. Sweta is being introduced because she is not known to Devi. We have here Millie introducing Shweta to Devi. So you can say, "Meet my friend Shweta." So now Shweta asks some questions. Uh, uh, Devi asks some questions. When Shweta says, "Do you live in Kanpur?" Devi says, "Yes. Millie and I study in the same college in Kanpur." That's how we know each other. "Where are you from?" So if somebody asks you, "Where are you from?" you have to also reply. That is how a conversation is carried out. If you just give one sentence answer and keep quiet, the conversation cannot go forward. So always in a polite situation, you must know what question to give what answer. If somebody answers you, then what more should you contribute to that conversation? So you can see here where Devi asks, "Where are you from?" Then Sweta says, "I'm from Assam, but I live in Kolkata." Now the answer is, "Where are you from?" "I'm from Kolkata." But she doesn't stop there. She continues the conversation. "But I live in Kolkata." That is not asked. "Where do you live?" Not asked. But she is giving that to make the conversation better. "Shweta is my neighbor's cousin." Now Millie is also adding to the conversation. She comes here to visit them during the holidays. Devi says, that's great. We must meet often whenever we can and have a good time. So introduction is over. Now they are planning the future. So we should meet. These are the holidays. So we can all meet. They are college students. They're going to meet. Thank you. Shweta is very happy that Devi wants to meet her also. I shall look forward to that. Are you going to introduce your companion too? Now there is one person who's standing silently, not been introduced. So now Shweta asks, are you going to introduce your companion too? Millie says, oh, I already know her. Now why wasn't she introduced? Because Millie knows her, Devi knows her, Shweta is new to Kanpur. So new to this group, she comes to Kanpur often, but she's new to this group. So she says, who's this companion who's with you? She's Devi's elder sister, Kala. Now, see, introduction in the third person. Not this is my friend or meet my friend, but she is Devi's elder sister, Kala. Now, you see how there is a difference in the way in which introduction is done here. Good morning, Kala. Are you also in college? We started by hello, now we are saying good morning. Good morning, Shweta. Hi, Millie. Now, she already knows Millie. It's formal with Shweta, so she says good morning. Shweta has also said good morning, so she replies good morning. No, I'm not in college anymore. That's the reply she gives. Are you in college? No. Then she adds some information. She doesn't stop there. She says, I'm working. Many people make a mistake by saying, I'm doing a job. A job would mean only, a specific thing. Now, what are you doing now? I'm doing this job. You're mending your, laptop, or you're writing a letter, you're, cleaning your room. That is a job. But when you are employed, then use the word, I'm working. That's wonderful. Shweta is excited because she's a student. It's nice to meet somebody who's working. What do you do? Now, what do you do here implies that, what work do you do? I'm a pilot in a private airlines. Now, Kala has a beautiful job. It's a very interesting job. She says, I am a pilot in a private airlines. So Shweta is very impressed. She says, wow, that's impressive. Devi and Millie already know this. So they are not talking. Shweta is hearing for the first time. So she says, that's impressive. Have you been to many places? Now the conversation continues. Have you been to many places? Oh, yes, I shall tell you all about them some other time. Now, today I can't tell you. I'll tell you some other time. I have to leave now. Now, see, leave taking. End of conversation. I'm already late. Why should I leave now? I'm already late. Bye, Kala, Millie says. Bye, Kala, because she knows Kala well. Take care, Kala, Sweta says. Look forward to seeing you soon. This is their first meeting, so she's being more formal, more expansive, more elaborate. Goodbye, Shweta and Millie, Kala says. And Devi says, I also have some work, so bye. Hope to see both of you tomorrow. You can say see you both also, see both of you also. So that is the end of the conversation where both of them, the both sisters have gone away, and these two friends who introduced everybody. Now all the four are introduced to each other, and that is how an informal conversation ends. Let us move to the next. This is a formal introduction, as you can see in the title, where you must remember that if you're introducing a younger or a junior or a less designation person to a senior, a elderly, or a higher designation person, then you must mention the senior's name but introduce the youngster first. That is the rule which we have to follow. We don't say meet the elderly person first. We don't say that. We introduce the younger person, but we call the other person by name so that the younger person already knows who is being spoken of. Once this is over, then you introduce the other person. That is how it is done. Now here there are three people. One is a person who works in an office, the other is the person who's the head of that office, and the third person is a representative of another company. So these three people, context is formal and introduction is clearly given. One is an introduction to one person to one person, the other is introduction to a group of one person. These two types of introduction, it is a very small piece, not much, but you can see the two types. So this you have to keep in mind. A, who is Mr. Akhil, who works in the office, begins the conversation. M is Mr. Mohan, who is the head of this organization. And P is Miss Padma, who is the representative of another company who has come to visit their company. So there are three people here, and all the others who are not speaking, they are in a group. They are the senior leaders, team leaders of this company. So these are the people who are involved. Now you can look at situations like this in your job place, in the place where you have people like this, in your society community where you have a board of organizers or you have members who are in charge of the upkeep of the place. You have the town council, you have the panchayat, all these. So when you look at these situations, you can easily make these formal introduction pieces. Make 5 or 10 models for yourself. Don't depend on only what I'm giving you. So here, Mr. Akhil begins by saying, Mr. Mohan, who's of course the elderly person, may I introduce Miss Padma? Padma is the junior person. She's the youngster. She's the person who represents the other company. So he calls Mr. Mohan, or you might say Mr. Mohan, sir, if you want to be very respectful. That also is possible. May I introduce Miss Padma? Now we say MS because Miss, MISS and MRS, Mrs., those are very, they are not really used in a gender neutral language. We try, as far as possible, we are trying to make English gender neutral. So here, MS, Miss Padma. She is the representative of Jolly Company who has come for the presentation. Look at the introduction. Who is she? She is from Jolly Company. Why is she here? Because an important person you can't meet without a purpose. She's come to make a presentation. I had mentioned this to you yesterday. So that she was supposed to come, she was expected. Otherwise, you can't take, to the higher ups, you can't take a person without appointment, without telling them beforehand. So you see that, she has come. I told you about it yesterday. And Miss Padma, now introduction to the other person. This is my boss, Mr. Mohan. So you see how introduction is done. First, call the name of the elderly person, introduce the junior person. Then tell the junior person who this person is whom he or she is meeting. Padma immediately replies, Good morning, sir, because she is younger, she is junior, she is a guest here. So it is up to her to give the greeting first. So she says, Good morning, sir. Now, Mr. Mohan gives a formal, no response greeting. How do you do? This I gave you in the first video, first basic beginners conversation video number 1. How do you do? Reply is also how do you do? Not necessary to reply here. I'm looking forward to your presentation. So to make a person feel welcome, you say, instead of saying welcome, you say that I'm looking forward to your presentation. I'm very eager to hear you. Mr. Akhil, now he calls the name of the other person. And we also know by the job he gives that he's a junior person. Mohan is senior, Akhil is junior, Padma is a visitor. We know all this from the conversation. We don't have to know it beforehand. Please call the rest of the senior team leaders for the presentation. So Akhil is also a senior team leader and he has to call the rest of the senior team leaders. We can meet in the seminar hall in 10 minutes. Now, people have to come from their departments and gather in a place. So, they are giving a gap of 10 minutes. Now, first part introduction was person to person, first two people. Now, you see in the seminar hall, welcome everyone. Our MD, Mr. Mohan, now you can get a detailed introduction to him. Welcome everyone, group of people are there. You are addressing a group. Mr. Mohan has expressed his interest in executing an MOU with Jolly Company to get all the information about the products and services. Now, introduction is to Miss Padma. Why Mr. Mohan? Introduction. Already everybody knows. So, why is he here? And why why are we having this meeting? Because he wanted to execute an MOU. So, to get all the information about products and services of that company, we requested them to send a competent person. Now, see, description of Miss Padma, competent person who can make a presentation. Now, make a presentation. Padma is competent, she can make a presentation outlining all the relevant details. So, she also knows all the details. Here is Miss Padma, senior executive of Jolly Company. Now look at her designation and the place from where she has come, the name of the organization. So this is how introduction is done. Who will give us all the details and answer any questions you may have? Now, with the permission of Mr. Mohan, I request Ms. Padma to begin her presentation. S has gone away. You can see MS is there slightly in the video, but the introduction in the second part is one person being introduced to a group. Usually when you have a program, when you invite a guest, you have to give this kind of introduction. Very elaborate introductions are given where you read out the entire CV of that person, and that, of course, you can do if you have to do it in a particular context. But I have shown you a model of how a formal introduction is done. Two varieties. One is one-to-one introduction and the other is introducing a person to a group. Now we have a few other contexts. Each slide gives you a new situation and you have some people who interact with each other. Sometimes they are unfamiliar with each other, so they also give you their introduction. So it's a combination. Here, the context is asking the way. Suppose you want to go somewhere. You're standing at a point and you want to go somewhere near. You need not turn on your GPS. You can always ask people. In India, this happens very often. When you're standing somewhere, you're walking somewhere, somebody might stop you and say, where is this building? Where is that place? So we always give an answer to that. We tell them the directions, how to reach that place. So this is a conversation of that variety. Somebody who's H and another one B and another one C, they have names which we might learn later. We don't know in the beginning, but we know. Since I'm using it as a model, you can make your own, characters, think of some characters and put their names. The first person asks, which is the way to the park? Could you tell me, please? Now, the second person says, I'm not sure. I'm new to this city. So you're walking on the way, you want to look for a park, you meet somebody and you say, please show me where the park is. That person says, oh, I don't know because I'm new to this city. The third person who's around the same place, standing here, listening to the conversation of these two people, says, I can show you the way to the park. Now, in India, we don't wait for that formal introduction. We might introduce ourselves to strangers also. That is how the culture is. Therefore, the third person comes in and says, I can show you the way to the park. Please follow me. Now, the person who spoke second, who said he is new to the city, now speaks. May I also come with you? Now, the first person has asked, show me the park, way to the park. So when the third person speaks, the second one thinks that, okay, maybe that person wants to show only that one who has asked the question. So he says, may I also come with you? Request. I live in the next lane. Now, he is telling a little about himself. I live in the next lane and would like to visit the park often if it's within walking distance. From the next lane to this place, is it possible for me to walk to the park? You're welcome. Now, the third person says, I can take all of you, no problem, both of you. I live quite close to the park. Now, the other person has said, I live in the next lane. So, what is the exchange? The exchange is, I should tell you where I live. So, he says, I live close to the park. And yes, we can easily walk the distance. Now, the question was also asked, if it is walking distance, I can go every day to the park. He says, yes, you can easily walk because you're in the next lane, park is on this side, you can easily walk. Now, where is your house? I have come to this locality recently and I don't know anyone here. So the first person now questions again, where is your house? Two people have said that one has said, I live in the next lane. Another one has said, my house is close to the park. But nobody has said exactly where they live. So the first person who's new says that, I have come to this locality recently and don't know anyone here. Now, he is trying to make friends. My name is Hari. So, you're eager to make friends since you've met somebody. So I start by introducing myself. I don't say, who are you? I give my own name. And he says, nice to meet you, Hari. Let me introduce myself. This is Bipin. You can see that tall building complex. I live there. Now you see, I'm giving exact address. That tall building complex is where my house is. Because it's in the next lane, you can only see the top of the building possibly. And I'm Chandu. Now they all, know each other's name. Hari started the process. I'm Hari. Then he says, this is Bipin. And he says, I'm Chandu. So my name, this is I am. See, all what we learned in the beginner's video, now we are using it. I'm very happy to meet both of you. In an informal conversation like this, you can also say, very happy to meet, instead of saying, I am all the time. I am, we are using short form because in conversation, we always use short form. But you can also remove I am completely and say, very happy to meet both of you. Since we are going to the park, you can visit my place and have a cup of tea. So he says, no need for me to give you the address. You can come to my house. Invitation, inviting to your house. So everybody is very happy. That's great. Now, tell us how to reach the park. If you give directions, only then we can reach. Next time I can go there on my own. Every time I don't want to depend on Chandu. I want to go on my own. So I should know where it is. Now Chandu says, first we need to turn left at the crossing. So he shows the crossing. There is a crossing here. First we need to turn left at the crossing. After about 300 meters, we should turn right. There is a supermarket at that point. When you turn right after 300 meters, you find a supermarket. Once you go past that, means you go beyond the supermarket, we can see the park on the left. Now you see how clear the directions are. Go, first you go left and then you turn right and then you find the supermarket, you go ahead and on your left side, you can see the park quite easily. Oh, I'm happy that there is a supermarket on our way. Now you wanted to know about the park, you have found out also about the supermarket. So asking the way for two things. You are new to the locality, you want to know about the supermarket. Let's say, I need to buy some essentials. Since I have just recently come, I will also visit the supermarket. That is what the first person Hari is telling us. Now, Bipin is asking another direction. He says, is there a bank in the locality too? So he says, I'm new to this city. I don't know anything. So is there a bank in this locality too? Yes, there is. We have to go to in the other direction. Now, park is this side. We have to go in the other direction. See that traffic signal behind us? Pointing out to the traffic signal. Go straight for about half a kilometer and you will find a branch of X bank. I've not written the name of the bank. You can put any name there. So he says, you know, you cross the signal, go on the other in the other direction, go straight, you will find a branch of the bank there. Thank you. You have given very clear directions. So both are happy, but one person replies, and that is the end of the conversation. We have the next situation, and that is making a request. You ask someone to do something for you, that person agrees to it, then your request is complete. That is the conversation here. P is Pranay. We don't know their names now. We will know by the conversation. R is Rakesh and T is Tina. So Pranay begins by saying, there is a book on the table near you. Will you get it for me, Rakesh? By name, he is requesting. Pranay is requesting by name by saying there is a book on the table near you. I'm sitting far away. You're near that table. So there is a book there. Can you get it for me? You mean the book under the table? When we do prepositions, we will do prepositions of position. On the table, under the table, then beside the window. These are all positions which are being discussed here. But today we are only doing conversation. What I'm telling you is from the conversation, you can learn grammar, you can learn vocabulary, depending on whatever you would like to learn. So he says, you mean the book under the table, Pranay? Now, the third person speaks. Are you referring to the table beside the window? I think a book has fallen down from that table. So since Rakesh had a doubt, do you want a book from which is on top of the table or the one which has fallen down? Then the third person says that there is a table near the window. Maybe Rakesh is sitting next to the window. And then one book has fallen down. So that is why he said under the table. Pranay says, oh, Tina, I didn't realize it had fallen down. Yes, that's the book I wanted. Now he looks, peeps, and sees, okay, this is the book. I wanted that book. Rakesh says, all right, here is the book. Then before giving the book, he looks at the book and says, looks interesting. May I borrow it after you finish? Reading books is a wonderful pastime. And reading books which are interesting will give you many ideas. It will improve your language. It will do a lot to benefit you. So he says, may I borrow it after you finish? Sure, I can give it to you on Sunday. Now a date is also fixed. Today is a weekday. So you say, I can give it to you on Sunday. Now Tina also would like to read it. If it is worth reading, please give it to me after both of you have finished reading it. So Pranay says, I was told it's a very good book. That's why I want to read it. Rakesh immediately says, don't tell us the story before we have read it. Then we will lose interest. And Tina suggests, you are right. We can discuss the merits of the book once all three of us have read it. Now see, interesting idea about conversation. You read a book and you write about a book, or you imagine there are 2, 3 people discussing a book which you have read, a movie which you have seen. Each one gives one opinion. You have a nice conversation ready for you. Use these models. I'm telling you again and again. That's a suggestion I like. Discussing the merits of the book. We don't say discussing about, please remember, often made mistake. So we say Discuss the merits of the book, discussing the merits of the book. That's a good suggestion. I look forward to an engrossing discussion. That's what Rakesh says, that, it will be a very engrossing discussion. Engrossing, something which interests you, something in which you put your entire mind, something which occupies your mind to the exclusion of all others. You find it really something which you can go deep into. Engrossing. In case you have difficulties with any words, please try to make many sentences using those words. Now, I have a request. We started with Pranay making a request for a book. Now, Tina has a request. Could you both help me by completing this questionnaire? It is for my project. Tina is doing a project. She has a questionnaire which needs to be answered. A questionnaire is a series of questions. You take the answers from 100 people, then you make a statistics of all the answers, then you give a project report. So that's what she's doing. When do you want it back? Now, Pranay cannot give immediately. I need a couple of days to complete it. I'm busy. Instead of saying I'm busy, informally says I'm busy. So I will need till Wednesday. I'll need a few days. So Tina says Wednesday. That's fine. Give it to me by Wednesday. So maybe today is Monday, 2 days, Wednesday. I shall also give mine by Wednesday then. Okay, then I need not hurry. I need not give it to you today. I can also give it to you on Wednesday. Thanks a million. Tina is very happy. She's found two people who will do her questionnaire. Very grateful to both of you. That is how the conversation ends. Like the other one, asking or making a request, here it is seeking help. Now, these are all ways in which you interact with people. Very often, it seems that with the help of others, you can benefit. And if somebody helps you, that is really something very nice. We find people often helping us in a variety of ways. So here we have two people where you have the names A and B. They are known to each other, so they don't introduce themselves to each other, and they just speak about a particular thing where one person is asking for help and the other person gives that help. So A says, I have a load of pending work and my laptop is playing up today. That means it's not working properly. I thought I would work for a couple of hours more and finish everything. You're really worried. You have work and your laptop is not working properly. Is the work very urgent? Yes. The document has to go for client review in a couple of days. If I don't do it today, I cannot get the chief's approval before sending it to the client. Imagine there are three processes here. Level one, I have to do the work. Level two, I have to give it to the senior person to look at it. Level three, it has to reach the client in exactly 2 days' time. So I cannot stop working today. But how will I do it? That's a problem then. Understand? No help is asked till now. Just sharing. I have a problem. I'm sharing with you. So here is, do you think I can help you in any way? Now, without being asked. Earlier slide, they were asking, give a book or fill a questionnaire. But here it is not asking. Here it is offering. I'm offering by saying, do you think I can help you in any way? I don't know. I have been planning to buy a new one, a new laptop that is, but haven't found the time to do so yet. So every time there's a problem with this one, I regret having postponed it. You know, we keep postponing many things. So this person is also regretting, why did I not buy the laptop when I could? So it is just that you push some unimportant things and then suddenly they become very important. That's too bad. Sympathy. You are showing sympathy, you're showing that you're eager to help. Maybe you can ask someone to lend you their laptop. I'm using mine, otherwise, I could give it to you. So he says, I also need my laptop. I can't give it to you. So can you ask someone? I have used some of my colleagues' laptops, colleagues plural. So apostrophe comes after, not a single colleague. Then it would be E and apostrophe and S. But it's not like that. Some of my colleagues' laptops from time to time. But today being a holiday, I'm unable to do that. I cannot meet my colleagues today because I'm at home and my laptop is needed. So all these problems the person is saying. Telling a problem, sharing a problem is asking for help. When you share with somebody, that person immediately comes and offers to help. From these conversations, we not only learn, good English, but we also learn patterns of behavior. What is good behavior? What is good etiquette? Maybe we will have a video on communication etiquette much later, after maybe 50 or 100 videos. So he says, I'm using, I can't give it to you. Uh, Let me, since it's a holiday, I can't get it, he says. Then the other person says, let me call up my cousin. If his laptop is free, he can lend it to you. He lives round the corner, right here, very close by. You can go and take it from his place, can't you? Now, this I said in the beginner's video on question answers, that we will have a tag question. So here I'm introducing the tag question to you, but we will have a grammar video on tag questions also. So he says, you can go and take it from his place, can't you? This is a suggestion. That is how suggestions are given. So he lives round the corner. If his laptop is free, you can go and take it. That is what is the. Yes, of course, that would be a real help. But are you sure you can ask for such a favor? Asking people is very difficult. So would you really like to ask your cousin? This shows sensitivity. He says, I'm sure there won't be a problem. My cousin, after all, I can surely ask. Good friends, family members, relatives, extended family. We can easily ask them for things. Formal relationships, we are formal. We don't really ask. So you have to remember that. So it says, speaks on phone. In brackets, if you put, that is not part of the dialogue, it's an action. So here, speaks on phone. Well, that's done. He's not using his laptop now. You can keep it for a day or two, he says. So he's not only giving it to you for 2 hours, he said, if I need it for a couple of hours, he's willing to give it for a whole day or 2 days. And that is what he says. I'm not saying it. You have saved the day. You really helped me save the day. That is an idiomatic usage. I will go and collect it immediately. Thank you. You are welcome. So that is how help, which is, not asked directly, but help which is given. I'm sure in your life you have come across a situation where you made a complaint to somebody, some officer or some department, or somebody made a complaint to you, personal or business. These are very common situations. The person who's complaining is a person who gets very angry. So here, the client or the complainant is the person who's represented as C. O is the officer to whom the complaint is made, and A is the person, the attendant, whom the customer approaches. So the first person starts by saying, I want to meet the person in charge of registering complaints. In each organization, there is a person who is there for taking down people's complaints. These days, of course, we have social media. So a lot of complaints come online, but we are not interested in the online complaint. We are looking at conversation. Therefore, I'm giving you a conversation of a complaint which is face to face. So this attendant, this person, the peon says, please go straight to the end of the corridor. You will find his room there. So the officer sits there at the end of the corridor. His room is there. Usually in the office, the rooms, the name and designation of the person is written, so he can easily find. Thank you, the person says, finds the room. May I come in? The officer says, please do. What can I do to help you today? That is a question he asks. I have a complaint to make. The person gets upset. I was supposed to get a refund from your organization, but in spite of repeated reminders, I have not got the money back. Now this is formal, so you can say I have not. I haven't. Since it's conversation, we can say haven't, but have not gives it a more formal context. So the officer says, that's not possible. We always give refunds. The refunds are given regularly. Are you sure you haven't got it? Now, the officer wants to double check. It is a matter of money. So you can't just give it off. If somebody says, I didn't get the money, you just don't give it. You say that, are you sure? This makes the client very upset. The client, you can see how upset the client is. Why do you think I will waste my time and yours by complaining when I have nothing to complain about? He's being rude. Very often, rude also is a part of conversation. So, till now, we had polite. Now, this person is very angry, very rude. I can't waste my time. I can't waste your time unless I have a genuine complaint. I have made numerous phone calls. He gives a reason for coming personally. I have made numerous phone calls, but could not get any proper reply. So I have finally come to meet you today. The phone call, of course, doesn't come to the officer. It is attended by some people who are in charge of receiving the phones, the telephone operator or the assistant or the secretary, such people. So he says, I've come to meet you today. I'm sorry if you have faced any problem. The officer is still not convinced. He says, any problem. He said, you know, he doesn't think the problem might be genuine. Please wait here while I check your file. So if you have a problem, I will check. All right, said, very short. No, not very polite. Thank you. No such thing. All right. Now he said, the officer takes out the file and says, here is your file. It says that the check sent to you by post came back. Imagine, the check was sent, it came back, saying that you were not available at that address. The check was returned, so it's not our fault. Easily, the officer is showing. Let me see the address. Now, the client doesn't believe. Says, the customer says, let me see. Oh, this is not the correct address. Now, it might be a person who made a mistake, or it might be an elderly person who, just slipped up. My house number is not 225, it is 255. Instead of 2 being twice, it is 5, which is twice. I wonder how I could give the wrong house number. So he's admitting the fault and, exclaiming. You can see that mark at the end of the sentence. I wonder how I could give the wrong house number. Well, then you cannot really fault my staff. Now the officer is upset. He says that you said they are not answering you, you said they are not refunding you the money, but see, my staff is not at fault. This is a sign of a good leader. Leadership is a very important quality. So a good leader will defend his team. So he defends them. Sorry, the customer immediately apologizes. The fault is mine. But what about the refund? No, the question is asked, what about the refund? If you could wait for a little while, I shall have a fresh check prepared. So the officer is immediately in action. Doesn't say come back again. He says, I will have a fresh check prepared and hand it over to you in person. So no address is needed. You please sit. I will give you the check immediately. That will be nice. So now the customer is happy. He says, that will be nice. You are very helpful. So he also praises the person. When somebody does something for you, it's in our mind we think, oh, so nice, but we never express. Conversation is telling you that if you articulate, the other person feels happy, the other person knows. So you say, we do our best. Now, thank you. I shall wait in the visitor's room. This should have been green. It's come red. Please don't consider it as the officer saying. Thank you. I shall wait in the visitor's room. Please do. I shall ask them to give the check to you immediately. Now, the client is, the customer is a person who's very sensitive, doesn't want to sit in the officer's room and trouble him. The officer has a lot of work. So he says, I'll go and sit in the visitor's room. The officer says, okay, your check will come there. In this way, the complaint has been resolved. Sometimes people give you some suggestion, some advice, which you might not want to follow. So here is a conversation of a similar category. So we have here again two people. Again, we don't know who they are, just anybody who's talking to each other. The first person says, may I suggest something? The report you have prepared is not a very good one. So here is a suggestion. Would you like to take it back and revise it? This is what is said. That you have prepared a report, but you didn't do a good job. Please take it back. Sometimes when others tell us something is wrong, we don't believe them. We say, no, no, what I've done is wonderful. I don't want to accept your suggestion. That is what is happening here. Why do you say that? What is wrong with it? So I don't agree with you. Why? Give me reasons for it. Now, the first person who gave the suggestion gives the reason. The objectives for one, in the report, you have to first give, the objectives of what you're writing about are not clearly spelled out. You did not make them clear. Why was the study conducted? You did not say. For whom will it be beneficial? That also you did not say. Who is the target group? And how are you planning to share the findings with them? You didn't say any of these things. And how were the findings arrived at? So you have to, so you see, you have to check the methodology too. Imagine so many things you have to check in objectives and methodology. So many things are there. I don't think I agree with you. The person who's written the report does not agree. I remember mentioning all these things. In my report, all these are there. I have put them there. Well, at a cursory reading, that means I didn't read detail, I just read it. When you give a report, maybe the person higher up does not read everything, just reads a few things and decides whether it is a good one or not. I could find none of these things. So I just read it, I just looked through it and I could not find them. So I suggest you revise it and resubmit again in a day or two. So this is my suggestion if you want to take it. May I just point out the places where all the information you are seeking is located? You have given so many questions. I'll tell you where they are in the report. I suppose you could do that. The person who's given the suggestion is not convinced. He thinks it has to be changed, or she thinks it has to be changed. So says, okay, you could do that. Here on page 4, you will find the objectives. Immediately after that, and continuing on page 5, is the methodology. I think the rest of the things like target group follow after this. So page 4, page 5, page 6, maybe, all these things which you have asked are all there. Then you say, yes, I see it now that you have pointed it out to me. So you are reading it in great detail, you're telling me. Let me make another suggestion. First suggestion is you revise the report. Second is, The proposal needs to be organized better so that just a glance can highlight all the important points. The report has to be put in a way that by looking at the page, the points which are important come out. Would you consider redoing it so that it is more reader friendly? This is what is being said. So you say that, the report needs to be put in such a way that it is better, it highlights all the important points. And then I have a suggestion that you can make it reader friendly. I think I get your point. Now, finally, the person to whom the suggestion was given accepts. I think I understand. Let me see how I can improve it. Thank you for your suggestion. So initially he says, why should I do it? Finally, he says, thank you. It's no problem. Just trying to save you from getting a negative comment from the higher ups. They might be at the same level or slightly one level higher and lower in a company. So he says that, when you send your report to the higher person, that person might say, oh, it's terrible. So I just wanted, it is a friendly suggestion I'm giving you. Your suggestions are welcome anytime. Now the person is completely turned, in the space of few sentences, completely turned. I'm grateful. Once I'm done, may I request you to have a look at it again? Now he wants some more help. He says, will you again look at it? Sure, I'll be happy to do that. So you can easily see that a suggestion was given. Initially, it was not accepted. Later, it became a point of improvement and then further seeking some more help. So make some models like that based on your own experiences. This is the last of our slides in this mid-level conversation 1 video. If you look at all the videos together, you will get the gradation. So we have now an opinion. People have many opinions which they hold very strongly. So here one person is saying, X and Y are two people. We don't have their names or anything. We're just taking their conversation. Why do you keep awake late at night? It is very unhealthy. This is an opinion that if you sleep early, it's very good. If you keep awake, it is very bad. You should get up early in the morning and do your work when you're feeling fresh. So this is my opinion that you must not stay awake. I prefer to work late at night. Now the other person is saying, I don't like to get up early. I prefer to work late at night. That is the most productive time according to my biorhythms. Science says that, body has its own clock. So my body clock, biorhythm, is something which tells me that night is better than morning. Why do you object to it? Why are you saying that morning is better? I believe no one can succeed in life by sleeping as late as you do. My opinion, a very strong opinion. I believe that if you sleep late, you cannot succeed in life. There is great wisdom in the proverb. Now, proverb is a wise saying. It's an old saying. In advanced level vocabulary, we will have idioms, proverbs, all videos. So here, one proverb is given. Early to bed and early to rise is the best way to be healthy, wealthy, and wise. That's a proverb. Everybody says. So says, I believe in this proverb. It's, there is great wisdom in this proverb that you can be healthy, you can be wealthy, you can be wise only if you get up early and sleep early. All things cannot be generalized. Still the other person is saying that, everything doesn't apply to everybody. We should work at a time best suited to us individually. Now he says that, to me it is different, to you it is different. This is what makes us most creative. If I do exactly what you are doing, then that is repetitive. Even machines can do that. But as human beings, we are individuals. So each one of us has separate talents. Each one of us has separate capabilities. The best use of it, the creative use of it is important, especially creativity in the time of artificial intelligence. Human creativity is most important. So this person has a point. No use following rules if they don't suit us personally. If I follow your proverb, it might not suit me and I become less creative. That's not good. But still, but I still think you should try to change your habits. The person who has a strong opinion about early to bed, says you must change your habit. I did try once. Now the other person replies in a long explanation. Because many people have been telling me this from my childhood. It is like compelling a child. You force a small child to write with the right hand. See now two words, write and write. Two different spellings, two different meanings, but same sound. Again, I will do this in vocabulary. It's called homophone. Advanced vocabulary will have a video on this. Here you can get both of them. A child to write with the right hand, you know, when instinctively the child is left-handed. The child is a left-hander. The compulsion is more harmful than good. When you compel, when you force somebody to do something, then that child has some mental problems, psychologists tell us. I would get up early and doze on the table. No, it's possible that you tell me I will get up very early. Then in the office or in the college, I will fall asleep on my table. Then I would go to bed early and lie awake for hours, worrying about the waste of time. I won't get sleep, and then I will keep worrying about how much work I could have done in all that time which I'm wasting by lying in bed and not sleeping. We all need sleep. So he says, oh, that's very strange. I prefer working in the morning. Now, see, the whole thing has come that, I prefer working in the morning. I can't make everybody else do it. That you should understand. If you have an opinion, it need not be an opinion with everybody's shares. To be able to appreciate the exact opposite is something very wonderful. But what suits you need not be right for everyone. So he says, I just expressed my opinion. I'm not telling you to follow it. Initially, he followed. See how the conversation is changing the attitude of people? The conversation is changing how the people think. This is how the models are, so that you can see the growth and development of the characters in the conversation. That is how you should also make your models. You should practice, and in your conversations, you can easily put them across like that. You are free to do that. You're free to express your opinion. But let me do what suits me best. Well, if you are convinced, I won't say anything more. You keep to your opinion, I keep to my opinion. You get up late, I get up early. I won't say anything more. He's not changing his opinion. He's not trying to change the other person's opinion. Both of them are holding their separate opinions together. So, in this way, I have given you a few models here. Using these models, you will be able to look at the contexts which are available in your life. If any similar contexts come, you can make use of some of these. If different contexts come, you will try out and you will try to make as many conversation pieces as you want. Earlier I had a file where there were about 40 conversations available. That file is no longer with me. That was 15, 20 years ago, maybe, not now. So things keep changing. And therefore, we are, I'm giving you this newly. I'm not able to give you each one of you these conversations in any other format, a Word format or PDF format. I've put it in this PowerPoint format, which I'm easily able to use for recording. And this is the basis on which you have to learn. Of course, all your suggestions, your comments are most welcome. I'm still getting more emails and WhatsApp messages and phone calls than I'm getting comments in the videos, but that's okay as long as your messages reach me and I base my videos on that. That is fine. I have no problem. If you would like specific videos, like many have given, they want videos for literature, I will make literature videos after some time, not immediately, but after some time. So if you want to benefit from the mid-level conversation, you can listen to the conversation at the basic level, see the difference in the mid-level, and then go on to the second video of mid-level conversation, and finally, one video of conversation at the advanced level. These will be uploaded soon. Thank you and all the best.